Hi everyone, and welcome to episode number 196 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where I live, where I work, where I knit and crochet, and get into all kinds of other crafting shenanigans. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. It is Saturday, January 27th, 2024. And it's a gorgeous day out. It's overcast, but it's warm. I think the hubby said when he came home from work this morning, it was 58 Fahrenheit. It almost hit 70 Fahrenheit yesterday. So all the snow we got in the last few weeks is gone, except for a few spots where there's like big piles of snow from parking lots and whatnot. But the majority of the snow is gone. But it's supposed to get cold again. But we're so close to February now that for this part of the country, this part of the world, probably the worst of the cold part of the winter is gone, thankfully. So happy to have you all here with me today. If you're a new viewer, thank you so much for coming by to see what's what. I'm so happy to have you here. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back for another week to see what I've been up to and what I've accomplished since you last saw me. I'm so happy to have you here with me too. If you have not yet subscribed, that'd be fantastic. Like this video, share it. Hit the subscribe, the bell notification thing. All that nonsense is down below. I'd love to have you join this little family here. It'd be fantastic. Anyway, so I'm drinking some Earl Grey tea. The last few weeks I've started having it in this cupping, I don't know, can you see the steam coming from it? Yeah, I think you can. It's cold. It's a little bit cold in here, not as bad as it has been. I have short sleeves on. But in the last few weeks I've been drinking it out of this metal cup to try to keep it a little bit warm a little bit longer. In a ceramic cup it just gets so cold so fast. I don't mind iced tea, but when it's cold I like a warm beverage. So, what have I been up to this week? I have been fairly busy with my knitting. I have made some decent progress on two of the projects that I have. I only have two projects on the go, but I've made some decent progress on both of them. One, it's noticeable progress. The other, it doesn't look like I've done much, but it's been a lot of hours of work, and that's fine. So the first I have is my pair of row one sort of shorty, sort of scrappy socks. And I'm on to the fourth color now, this little one. So the yarn I'm using for these is from my December row one mini subscription box. And what I thought I would do with some of these yarns is make myself some sort of shorty. These don't really mismatch at all. They're just kind of random. But I took each of the little balls of yarn and I pull from either end of the yarn and work them two at a time. So when I run out, I move on to the next color. So they're pretty matchy. And I'm finding with this that initially I thought that with this I would have 50 grams plus the toes and heels in bare. And I thought the five little 10-gram skeins would work. I didn't weigh a single one of them. I suspect they're each a little bit more than 10 grams because I will have enough yarn to make sort of shorties the length I like using only 4 of the skeins, not 5. I was hoping I would get two pair of socks out of the 10 little skeins. I will probably be able to get 2 pair of socks plus still have 2 little guys left. So I might be rethinking what I'm going to do with all of the row one minis, little mini skeins. But when you saw me last, let me put, I'm just going to tuck this guy down in here because otherwise I'm going to drop it. So when you saw me last week, I was way down here. I was midway through the first color, where this little stitch marker that came in the December, this came in the December box. It's a little Christmas stocking. Yeah, a little Christmas stocking with some gifts inside it. So I was down here. So I've finished the foot, finished the gusset increasing, I've done the heels, and I've got, I think, about 6 rounds on each of the legs. When I do these, I found that I got roughly somewhere between 20 and 30 rounds from each of the colors. Now, this final color, since I started it pretty much when I was done the heel, I'll be able to get roughly 20 to 30 rounds on the leg, and then I'm ready for the cuff. So I'm not going to incorporate color number 5 in this particular pair of socks. What I do plan on doing is I will go to the end of this little ball of yarn, and from that point I will just transition and just do the leg, or just do the cuff, the 2x2 ribbing on the cuff, and call them done. So I will have 6 balls of yarn left, and I will talk, after I talk about my other work in progress, after I've done that, I will talk with you for a few minutes about some ideas I have for using the row 1 mini skeins so that I can use them, because I still have 6 balls of yarn from the December box. I have all 10 from the January box, and we're getting awful close to February, and the February box is going to be on the way. So probably within 2 to 3 weeks I'm going to have 26 little balls of yarn. And these things are multiplying fast. So I have a couple ideas of what I want to use those minis for, and I'll talk about that in just a bit. But first, my other, don't you dare, don't. It's trying to get away. My other whip is my Geogradient shawl, which right here just looks like a big monochromatic, that's the word I'm looking for. It just looks like a gray monochromatic blob. And I don't want to try to stretch it out too far because there's an awful lot of stitches on a cable that's not quite long enough for what I'm doing. But I picked up Geogradient again, and I have got a start on clue number 4. I had finished up to the end of clue number 3 before I put it aside late November to get into my Advent knitting. And I'm just picking it up again now, and I want to get this finished. But clue 4, each of the rows are long. Most of them are close to 500 stitches, and then you get to a row where you increase it to double that to nearly 1,000 stitches. And then coming back from that, you have to do a bunch of purl 2 together through the back loop to bring you back down to the nearly 500 stitches. I'm not a huge fan of purl 2 through the back loop. I don't mind purling. I'm one of those weirdos that I'm okay with purling. I don't mind it at all. I think it's just the way I hold the needles, and I knit continental, so I think it's just the way I do the purl stitch. It's not, I don't find it bad or annoying to do. But purl 2 through the back loop has that weird little twist in it, and I did find that was hard on my wrist. So I'm not excited about having to do a few more rows of those, but that's okay. It's only one row every 8 or 12 rows. I forget how many, every 7 rows, whatever. So I've got the first color repeat plus a couple rows done for clue number 4. So the light gray is my color A, and I've done the dip stitch, the 2 rows that constitute the dip stitch. I've done that in color B, and now I'm ready to do, I think, 4 more rows in color B before I do another repeat of switch to color D or B. Nope, maybe C. Oh my gosh. Anyway, before I switch to the next color, the 3rd color, and do the dip stitch with that one. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the larger border or the smaller border. Right now I'm leaning a little bit more towards doing the smaller border just because I want it done. In all honesty, is the biggest motivation for why I want to do the small border versus the larger border. I'll see if I can pick up speed working on it now that I understand what's going on with the pattern, but we'll see. But I am leaning towards doing the smaller border, and I probably will not put tassels on it. So this is a Stephen West pattern. This was the mystery shawl knit along from this fall, and I'm working my way through the 4th clue right now. Good grief, I'm getting all these I'm messing up and calling things by all the wrong names. So I'm using Whole Super Soft for this pattern, and I have 4 different shades of gray, which I cannot for the life of me remember the name of any of them. One of them is graphite, the darkest one is graphite, one of them is flannel gray, slate gray, I can't remember the 4th one. I will have a link down in the description to my project page on Ravelry, which does list all the colors. And so it's Whole Super Soft. I'm excited to get this done. I think the smaller border has 24 or 26 rows that need to be done, and I just finished row 8. So I'm about a 1/3 done, roughly a 1/3 done. The border, I was hoping to have it done for today. That's funny. But anyway, so hopefully I have it done for next week. We shall see. Either which way, I will continue working on that, and I'm going to try my darndest not to cast on anything new until that's done. The only caveat to that self-imposed rule that I have is if I finish my row 1 December socks, if I finish those, then I will most likely cast on another pair of vanilla socks, most likely. So that's all I have for knitting that I've worked on this week. Work has been busy. We're back at school. We have been for 3 weeks now. We're getting into the 4th week already. Can't believe January's almost gone. How is that possible? I can't figure how that's even possible. But we're heading into February, which is my birthday month. So that's always fun. So my knitting plans. I have a few plans that I'm wavering between. I do have the rest of those granny squares that need to be done, or make some more granny squares so that I can make myself either a vest or a sweater. I found one pattern. Oh, I didn't write it down. It's it just joins a bunch of granny squares together into a sweater, and then it just has the double crochet, kind of the granny square type stitch pattern on the sleeves. I might do that, or I might adjust it and figure out a way to make it into a vest. We'll see. that's sitting on the back burner right now, and I will be making a few more granny squares for that so that I can get that sweater, the next sweater, done with that. But with the rest of my row 1 minis, the yarn is coming in faster than I'm knitting it, which I'm not surprised. So I had mentioned last week I was thinking of making mitered squares, holding the yarn, each of the row 1 minis, holding them double to make a DK weight, probably a cardigan sweater. Then, so I was thinking, well, I've seen a few patterns, and a few of you have pointed out some pattern ideas to me, which is fantastic. And I'm contemplating some of those. And I'm also contemplating just kind of winging it and draw a schematic of the shape I need, and then just knitting the mitered squares to fit that schematic. That's an alternate plan other than using an existing pattern, which I haven't quite found exactly what it is I want. My other 2 ideas are similar to the idea of doing a DK weight mitered square cardigan. Is I've seen a couple patterns. One I just saw just the other day. I don't recall the name of it. It's a brand new pattern, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it's to make a blanket, and it does these little hexy shaped squares. A hexagon is not a square, but it's done using flat hexes, and then you just join one to the next, and then you come along and you join a second column, and so on until you've completed a blanket. And I think the pattern is written for fingering weight. What I'm thinking of, maybe this is a second possibility. If I don't make a mitered square blanket pattern cardigan, I like the idea of doing hexes and making each of the hexes in, again, double thickness of the yarn, the row 1 mini yarn, and make one hexie with each one, and see how much I can make. Maybe make the hexes a little bit bigger than what the pattern has. I'll contemplate that. And then just same way I was going to do with the mitered squares, just do a schematic and make the columns and make a sweater out of it, make a cardigan out of hexes. The third idea I had is to use the jelly roll blanket pattern and just do strips. Again, the same idea as the mitered square cardigan, just do the strips and make it kind of fit to a schematic and make it into a cardigan. These are all ideas that I have rattling around up in my melon. Whether they're doable or not, I don't know. And I don't know which one I want to try. In the grand scheme of things, if the first idea works, then I'm certain that it'll work to do the same style for all 3 techniques. Which one should I try? I'll put a link to the pattern for each of them, for the basic pattern that I'm going to use, and let me know which one you think I should try. The jelly roll hexes, not the hexy puff things that you make those blankets with, but just to do a basic that shape and join them up. So either the mitered square, the hexes, or the jelly roll, and do it scrappy. With the jelly roll one, I can just do one of the minis held double until I run out. that either way they will all be incredibly colorful. I think the Hexies will use the smallest amount of yarn per square or per motif. I don't know. I like the idea of all three of them. I really do like the idea. And what I might have to do is try to think of a way that I can draw out a schematic and make it work. And then do the sleeves and then sew the sleeve, like stitch the sleeves onto the body. Or is it a complete, are these all three of these in just crazy out there ideas? I might also look at, there's a lot of different hexagon, different shape patterns in crochet that I might be able to adapt a schematic from that to use for knit squares. I'm not sure if I want to do it in crochet. I don't know. What do you think? Am I completely crazy? Or is it a good idea? Because I do have lots, and I have other scraps that need to be used. I like the idea of all three of them. If one of them works, I suspect I'll probably make the three different ones eventually. If the first idea works, then I can adapt it for the other ideas. Come along for the ride and see if it works. Because I don't quite want, I was thinking Ariana, but I don't think I quite want as big a sleeve. Like that one's not quite dolman. No, it's almost a dolman sleeve. We shall see. Anyway, so what else? Life stuff. As mentioned, work is going well. We're back in school, classes are going well. I seem to have a decent bunch of students in each of my classes, which is good. This evening and this weekend is busy. Tonight we have the volunteer, the fire hall across from where my hubby works. They're having their volunteer banquet this evening, so we always get invited to that because of the association my hubby has with the fire hall. So we'll be going to that. So it's kind of an award. It's a volunteer appreciation / awards thing. So they do all kinds of like service awards for all of the different firefighters and ambulance crew and stuff like that. So it's always a really nice evening. So we have that tonight. Then tomorrow after church, we're having what we call soup and sandwich after the service at lunchtime. So the church provides the different breads and sandwich fixings, and everyone else is asked to bring either a soup or a dessert. So I've got soup to make this afternoon, or this evening when we get back from the banquet. So I've got a batch of soup to make and have that ready to take in the morning. So that'll be nice. It's always good because there's so many different kinds. People bring all kinds of soups. There's always something really yummy to sample. So we've got that tomorrow, and then it's back to work on Monday again. My life is not very eventful, but otherwise I think that's probably about it. I'm excited to get GeoGradient done so I can get started on one of my scrappy projects, like the scrappy cardigan type of project. Maybe that's how I can search on Ravelry for scrappy, because I don't really want marled. I want something that's more color blocking but not intarsia. I'm thinking as I go, which is not always a good thing. Following some random train of thought. So anyways, I'm gonna zip it up now. I will quit talking. I will let you go. And I almost made it through without a tickle in my throat. creating a cough. I will let you go, and I will see you again next week. Alrighty, take care, everyone. Bye.